Welcome into the arena. Grab yourself a seat and join me courtside as we talk your Miami Heat. Thank you all for joining me for another edition of Miami Heat Basketball Beat. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you back to the show today. This was the last round of the play-in game. Team number 10, that's your Miami Heat, was traveling to Atlanta to take on the Atlanta Hawks in a win-or-go-home matchup. And tonight got off to a great start for Miami. They scored the first 10 points of the game, getting up to a 10-0 lead. And then after that, it was pretty much tied the rest of the way, as going into halftime, we were up by, or at the end of one quarter, we were up by 9. At the end of halftime, we were up by 9. At the end of three quarters, we were up by 9. And then we were going into that fourth quarter, where we all know as Miami Heat fans is a dangerous place to be, with the lead going into the fourth quarter on the road. What players helped us get to this 9-point lead entering the fourth quarter? First of all, it was Tyler Hero had a bit of a rough day. He was getting his scoring, but not in the same way he got in last game. Sprinkling them in throughout the night. Missed his first couple shots, but he got some free throws. Bam Adebayo made some shots there as well, but again, did not dominate. Our dominators were our three-point shooters. Haywood Highsmith had 2 3-pointers in the first half. He was 2 for 2 from behind the arc going into the halftime break. And Wiggins did his job to help as well, pitching in with a couple 3-pointers as well. Then we got to the second half here. And then we got to the second half, and the Hawks closed down the deficit down to 3 points, and it was looking dicey in that third quarter as the Hawks got off to a hot start to start the second half. But once again, Miami Heat responded, getting the lead back up to about 14 points or so, and in the end, finishing that third quarter with a 9-point lead. Then the Hawks would start off the fourth quarter hot in Hotlanta, as Onyeka Okongwu made 4 3-pointers tonight, 3 of them in the latter second half. Trae Young made a few threes, and then before you knew it, the Atlanta Hawks were up by 6 points with about 7 minutes to go. It was not looking good for the Heat, but they came back and they were scoring almost every time down the court. They could not stop Atlanta on the other side, but they just did enough to get themselves a 3-point lead with about a minute to go, and then they were trading baskets. They were up by 1 with the ball with about 19 seconds to go. Then Tyler Hero would get fouled with 14 seconds left and a chance to get it to a 3-point lead. Unfortunately, Tyler Hero only made 1 out of those 2 free throws. And with 14 seconds left in the game and a 2-point deficit, the Atlanta Hawks would have the ball. After a foul as they were not in the bonus, the Heat were not in the bonus, we were down to 6 seconds left, and we've seen this so many times in the last month, where the opponent would hit a game winner. Cade Cunningham makes a bank 3-pointer. We have Ja Morant made a 2-pointer at the buzzer. And then I forget the guy's name from the Washington Wizards made a buzzer basket in just the last game of the regular season. We've seen this 3 times in the last 3 weeks, where the final shot of the game would be a game winner against our beloved Heat. But the defense held strong at the 3-point line, and Trae Young took the 2-pointer, the layup, and tied the game going with 1.5 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Heat would have 1.3 seconds to try and go for the game winner as they spread the floor out. They had Andrew Wiggins posting up at around the free throw line. A decent pass, a turnaround jumper was just off the mark, and we were going to overtime. And to be honest with you, I was ecstatic we were going to overtime. I thought for sure they were going to make a 3-pointer at the buzzer to win. So I will take this 5 more minutes, but my nerves, I could not take it. I could not take it. I had to leave the screen for a minute. I was freaking out. You know what? I've got a special guest who's going to tell you how that overtime went down right after this commercial break.
Today's episode is brought to you by toothpaste. Toothpaste, use it. 4 out of 5 dentists recommend toothpaste. Toothpaste, it's like soap for your teeth.
So we come into overtime. It's 106-106. Tyler Hero comes down, makes a 3. I'm feeling ecstatic after this. Then Davion Mitchell comes down and makes another 3. We're up by 6. Then Trae Young just has to make a 3 and make the lead 3. Davion Mitchell comes down again and makes another 3. We're up by 6 again. Then he gets an assist off Tyler Hero. He makes a 3. We're up by 9 with about 24 seconds left, and the game concludes with the Miami Heat taking a win.
Thank you to our special guest, Austin, running down the overtime. As I'm not going to lie, I was too terrified to watch. I took a lap around the house, came back to see the final score. So, and the final score did end up being 123-114 in favor of your Miami Heat. And like you said, we had 5 3-pointers in the overtime period. Survived at least 2 3-pointers from the Hawks, as Okonkwo finished with 28 points, including 4 3-pointers on 12 of 19 shooting. Trae Young had 29 points, and this was where I thought we were going to lose it. Georges Niang had 20 points, was dominating the second half and some of the second quarter, was taking the ball to the basket most of the time, made a couple timely 3-pointers, and he was terrifying as he finished with 20 points. Karis LeVert also added 15 points for the Hawks. Now for the Heat and their players here that got them the big scores here. Andrew Wiggins for the second straight time in the play-in tournament here finished with 20 points. Bam Adebayo once again had 17 points, finishing with a double-double, collecting 11 rebounds. Khalil Ware had 12 points and 8 boards. And Tyler Hero was a little slow all night long, but had a monster game down the stretch of the fourth quarter, making 4 or 5 baskets in those final 5 minutes, including the free throw that got up to a 2-point game. And he hit 2 3-pointers in the overtime period as he finished with 30 points, eclipsing 30 points for the second time in the play-in tournament. And Haywood Highsmith was the X factor tonight, all night long, finishing himself with a double-double, 12 points, 10 boards, including a big putback on an offensive rebound late in the game when the game was very close. And Davion Mitchell, who struggled most of the night, had 3 3-pointers in the overtime session, just as Austin stated, including the dagger to make a 9-point lead with 24 seconds left. Davion Mitchell was as cold as ice, cooler than ice tray in that overtime period, and your Miami Heat are advancing to the playoffs. The Miami Heat are the very first 10 seed ever to advance through the play-in tournament and earn themselves a playoff appearance. Now, if you're following our show along, you know this is good news for 2 reasons. 1, we like playoff basketball, and 2, that means their pick will fall into the 15th pick for the 2025 draft, which means it will convey this year to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Don't be sad, guys. It sounds like people are like, we're losing our pick this year. 1, we're getting a pick from Golden State, so we're not losing anything. And you can look at it like this. We're gaining a pick next year. That means we're going to have a pick in 2025, a first-round pick in 2026, and now a first-round pick in 27 or 28, depending on how it falls in the protections. We are no longer going to succumb to the will of the timing mechanism in terms of protections. We will have a 2027 protected pick. If it's outside the top 14, it'll be shipped along to the Hornets, and then our count will run clean from 28 going forward. So this is good news all around as far as I'm concerned. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Miami Heat Basketball Beat. Do me the favor, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Let us know how you thought Austin did on relaying the overtime play-by-play there. Keep in mind, with us in the playoffs, we're going to keep on coming to you guys. The Heat will play the Cavaliers on Sunday night, Easter Sunday at 7 p.m. Not to make too much of a religious joke here, but the Heat has risen, and it now is our chance to shine in the playoffs. Thank you, guys. With that being said, may you please, please, please make your free throws. May your coaches' challenges be successful. We will see you next time.